It was the summer of 2007 in the quiet town of Blumenau, Brazil. 12-year-old Gabriel Kuhn was like any other kid his age curious, full of energy and obsessed with video games. He spent most of his time online, playing the popular MMORPG Tibia, where he had made several virtual friends. But one of those friendships was about to turn into something far more sinister. Daniel Petry, 16, was different from the other kids. He had a short temper, a violent past, and a deep hatred for anyone who crossed him. He had been expelled from multiple schools and had a reputation for solving problems with his fists. But Gabriel, young and naive, saw Daniel as just another gaming buddy. What he didn't realize was that behind the computer screen, Daniel was watching his every move, waiting for a reason to strike. One afternoon, Gabriel made a fatal mistake. He convinced Daniel to lend him 20,000 Tibia coins in in-game currency. Gabriel promised he would pay him back, but when the time came, he refused. He even went as far as blocking Daniel from his online chat. It was a small betrayal, but for Daniel, it was personal. Furious, Daniel stormed out of his house and headed straight for Gabriel's. The young boy was home alone, and when Daniel knocked, he opened the door without hesitation. What happened next was beyond horrifying. As soon as he stepped inside, Daniel locked the door behind him. He demanded his money back, but Gabriel refused again, laughing nervously. That was all it took. Daniel snapped. He grabbed Gabriel and threw him to the ground, unleashing a violent assault. He beat him mercilessly, slamming his fists into the boy's face over and over. Gabriel screamed, but no one could hear him. The pain was unbearable, but Daniel wasn't done. He grabbed electrical cords from a nearby gaming console and wrapped them around Gabriel's neck, strangling him until he passed out. But then, Daniel had an even sicker idea. He retrieved a knife from the kitchen and began mutilating Gabriel's body. He wanted to get rid of the evidence, so he attempted to dismember him. But halfway through, Gabriel regained consciousness. He was still alive barely. Through tears and gasps for air, Gabriel pleaded for his life, whispering, "Please don't do this. I won't tell anyone." But Daniel just laughed. "You won't tell anyone because you're about to die." And with that, he continued his gruesome work, sawing through Gabriel's legs with a dull blade. The pain was unimaginable. Blood pooled across the floor as Gabriel slipped in and out of consciousness, his young body unable to fight back. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Gabriel succumbed to his injuries. Daniel, covered in blood, looked at what he had done. He had no remorse. He picked up Gabriel's body and tried to hide it in the attic, but the boy was too heavy. Instead, he left him half hidden by the door, his lifeless body twisted and broken. Before leaving, Daniel did something truly disturbing, turned on his victim's computer and began playing Tibia, as if nothing had happened. Then, he walked home, casually cleaned himself up, and acted as if his life hadn't just changed forever. Hours later, Gabriel's mother returned home. She called out for her son, but there was no response. Then, she saw the blood. Her screams could be heard throughout the neighborhood as she found her son's body brutally beaten, dismembered, and lifeless. Police were called, and the investigation was quick. It didn't take long for them to track down Daniel Petry. His violent reputation made him the prime suspect, and when officers arrived at his house, he didn't even try to run. Instead, he smiled and simply said, "Gabriel started it. He lied to me." Justice? Or a failure of the system? Despite the sheer brutality of the crime, Daniel Petry was only sentenced to 3 years in a juvenile detention center, the maximum punishment for a minor in Brazil at the time. He showed no remorse in court, even mocking Gabriel's grieving parents. When asked if he regretted his actions, Daniel simply smirked and said, "Gabriel is in hell. That's where liars go." After serving his time, Daniel was released in 2010. Since then, he has vanished. No social media, no public records, nothing. Some believe he changed his identity and is living a normal life, while others fear that he may have killed again. But one thing is, certain Gabriel Kuhn never got justice. Did the legal system fail? Should Daniel have received a harsher punishment? Or is he just another example of how dangerous young minds can be? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to hear more shocking true crime stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay safe.